Hey guys, good evening. Thank you very much for joining, those of you who are watching live. And thank you very much for watching, for those of you who are watching the recording. Today's topic will be something I've answered twice today and way more times in the last week or a month because it's one of the most common questions. So I wanted to address it directly as well because I've talked about it during some other live streams related to different visa types, and I'll always touch this topic. But since I'm receiving plenty of questions about this, like this exact topic, I decided to do a live stream just about that. As I say always, I will try to keep it short because I don't really know how much I can talk about this. So I believe this will be like 5 minutes live stream. But you know me, and especially if you have some questions, it might be way longer. But let's go into the topic and we'll see where it gets us. So the question is, if you're applying for a visa, long-term visa for the Czech Republic, and it's your first application, meaning that you're applying through a Czech embassy in the country of origin or in some other Czech embassy, if you can do that, you need to submit, or one of the documents you need to submit is a proof of funds, meaning that you have enough money in your bank account. I did a video last week about the increase in these amounts because there has been a recent increase effective from the 1st of April 2022, where the minimum required amounts you have to have in your bank account increased quite a lot. But I did another live stream about that like a week ago, so please go back to that video if you're interested in that. But the point is that for most of the visa applications, you need to show that you have some amount in the bank account. The amount is generally not high, especially if you're coming from Western world, because it's now the highest amount required is equivalent to 137,000 crowns, which is roughly 6,000 US dollars. If you're a student, then the required minimum is like 102,000 Czech crowns, which is maybe 5,000, 4,500 US dollars. So it's actually not really much money, but there are still people who don't have this amount in their bank account, or they have it, but they just, it's on the border of like the most they can get together. So then the question comes, hey, if I have enough money on the day of submitting the application, and I need to use the money later on, is it okay? Or will my visa be denied because of that? Will it be approved? Does it matter or not? So this is actually the question. If you have enough money in your bank account when you're submitting the visa application, if you can use the money during the process. And as you already know, if you're watching me regularly, there is no certain or like one answer fits all, because it depends mainly on three things. First is your nationality. Second is how old was the proof of funds when you were submitting the application. And third is how long does the visa approval process take? And I will explain. So the first thing is your nationality. How does it depend on your nationality? Yes, the Czech Republic is kind of racist in the visa processes. So if you're an American, for example, or Australian, Canadian, Mexican, the chance that the ministry will request a new proof from you during the approval process is very low, or definitely lower than if you're, for example, Indian, or if you're from some other Asian country, or if you're from African country. If you're from Asian country or from African countries, or like then it's very likely that the ministry will request a fresher proof from you during the approval process. So it would definitely be risky using the money, because basically what it is all about is that the ministry wants to see that you really have the money, that you just didn't borrow it from someone for a day, got the statement, and then you return the money back to the person who lent it to you. So that's the point, to see, because officially the requirement for the funds in your account is there to make sure that if you move to the Czech Republic, you will survive for at least a year. Even if you have no income, that you will survive. Anyway, like, you will not survive with 100,000 crowns for a year, but that's some minimum amount calculated from some other minimum amount. So by the law, this is enough for you to survive for a year. So the ministry wants to check that you really have the money. So in case something happens and you don't have any income or anything like that in the Czech Republic, that you will be able to survive. So obviously, if you don't have enough money, then first you're not meeting the required the law minimum or the law requirement, which is one reason to deny the visa. And also, it's kind of from the ministry perspective, it's also about like you not being able to live here. If you don't have enough money to live here, then you cannot really live here, and the Czech Republic doesn't want to see you on the streets or like stealing from shops because you don't have money. So this is kind of the reason why they want to see that you have enough money in your bank account. And then if there are some doubts about the amount, then the ministry can request some fresher documents, or for example, the 3 bank account statements or 6 bank account statements showing all your transactions during that period of time, to make sure that you just didn't put the money there and then withdrew them the next day. So that's the point of that. And now about the chances of being requested some additional documents later on. As mentioned, the first difference is the nationality. If you're from Asia or if you're from Africa, the chance that the ministry will request a fresher proof of funds than what you submitted when submitting the visa application is pretty high, compared to, for example, if you're an American or Canadian or Australian or countries like that. Second thing is, how old was the proof of funds at the moment of submission of the application? Because again, if you had, the point is to find out if you have enough money to survive in the Czech Republic. And if you had enough money like 6 months ago, so your bank letter is 6 months old when you're submitting the application, which is technically legal because all your documents can be up to 6 months old or 180 days old when you're submitting them. But if you have enough money 6 months ago, it doesn't really mean that you have anything in your bank account right now, because 6 months is a very long time. And the same applies to like 3 months or even 2 months. In our experience in Move to Prague, when we deal with like hundreds, like I would say 1,000 clients every year, we've had like 11,000 clients in the last 10 years. So it's roughly 1,000 clients a year. Then what I was talking about. Then, yeah, from the experience we've had, the safe kind of like border is 2 months. Anything which is older than 2 months, you very much increase the chances of the ministry requesting something fresh. So when you're submitting your visa application, we always recommend the proof of funds to be no longer than 1 month old, ideally fresher. If you can open a Czech bank account, get the funds transferred to your Czech bank account, and then get the statement like or the bank balance 2 days before you go to the embassy, that's the best. Of course, if you're from India, for example, you need to get the balance document, mail it to the Czech Republic, get it translated, get it mailed back, go to the embassy. So obviously it will not be that fresh, but at least like tops would be 2 months. Whatever is older than that, you very much increase the chances of the ministry requesting something fresher. Whatever is younger than 2 months and ideally younger than 1 month, then you decrease the chances of the ministry requesting something fresher. Magda, hello, hi, nice to see you. So that was the point number 2. How old was the proof of funds when you submitted the visa application? And point number 3 is also the duration of the visa approval process. Because even if your proof of funds was like 1 month old, which would be perfectly okay, but then if the approval process takes 4 months, then at the point of decision, the proof of funds would be 5 months old, and that's already too old. So the ministry, before they make the decision, they would request something fresher. So it's also, this is kind of out of your hands, but what you can do, I did another live streams about this, that what you can do is that you make sure that your application is perfectly prepared, you're not missing anything, there are no doubts, even the slightest doubts about your application, and that makes the process go smoother and the approval comes faster. And then you also minimize the risk that the ministry will request something fresher from you. Because the problem with this is that when you're submitting the visa application, it's okay just to submit a balance document, basically just a document saying we confirm that there is this amount of money on this bank account belonging to this person on this date. That's enough, like stamped and signed by the officer, original document translated into Czech, easy. But if the ministry requests something else from you later on, it's usually a bank statement for the last 3 months or 6 months, depending on the case. And that can be a problem, because if the ministry, what many people do is that they have money in the beginning, but then they use it. And if the ministry requests something, then they deposit high amount of money, so they have enough. But this will look very suspicious for the ministry, because you had the money, then you didn't, and then again you have it. So it will look like you only deposited the money on purpose to fulfill the visa requirements, but you actually didn't have the money there the whole time, which is what happened. So you cannot be angry with them, because that's what happened. You deposited the money, then you withdraw it, and then like you deposit it again. So this is definitely something I would not recommend. If you're submitting your visa application, keep the money there during the whole time. We've had a case where the ministry tried to deny the application based on this, but I believe we appealed that. I'm not sure now. I would need to think about it more, but I believe we appealed that because the client was just using the money. He always like went above, then was using for rent or whatever, then again went above, using for rent and like spending, so went above. So it was never like I had enough, then I withdrew everything, and then you asked me, so I put another money there. It was like I used, I deposited, I used, deposited, used, deposited. So that might be kind of okay if on average you always had high enough amount, but don't risk it. Don't risk it. If you can, keep the money there during the whole approval process, and you will minimize any potential risks. And it's definitely better than to get your application denied and even make some appeals or have to apply again, because that really sucks. And appeals, I would not say they're very, very successful. And if you need to appeal again or apply again, that might take another year to get the appointment, get all the documents together, apply, get it approved. So you will be unnecessarily losing time. So I definitely recommend keeping the money there the whole time. Don't use it, or if you use it, then deposit it immediately back, or deposit that high amount that even if you use it, you will stay above the required minimum. So this is it, because if the ministry sees that you use the money, and at any given point, if they decide to make a decision and they ask you to show what's your balance now, and they ask you for the last 3 months of statement, and if they see that you didn't have the money there the whole time, that's very easy for them to deny the application. They will just say, hey, you only deposited the money when you needed it for the visa, but you don't have the money there the whole time, so you're not meeting the requirements. Bye, try again later. So, and that really sucks, and that might endanger your next applications as well. So it's definitely, if you can keep the money there, do that. If not, then at least minimize the risks by submitting as fresh document as possible and having all the documents ready in a perfect condition, so you minimize also the time needed for the decision. So you also minimize the risk of the ministry asking for some additional documents. Obviously, you cannot change your nationality. So if you have the nationality where it's more likely for the ministry to request new documents, then unfortunately you cannot do anything about it, but you can minimize the other risks. Whew. It was not very fast, not very short, but 13 minutes, 14 minutes, that's not bad. So guys, if you have any questions, now's the time. Please feel free to ask. I can see Aizhan joining, Emmanuel, Lori, Sonia, Steve, Orhan, Grace, Miram Joy, Agnello. Thank you guys for joining. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I can see that there are some questions on my YouTube. So Safa, good evening, Jan. It's been now 3 months since I applied for long-term family reunification visa, but no response so far. Would you recommend something, please? Safa, yes, of course, I would recommend waiting. As you can hear me repeating that all the times here on live streams and in all my videos. And if you meet me in person, I will tell you the same thing. Wait. 3 months is nothing in the time lapse of the ministry. Officially for the visa application, if you applied for a long-term visa, the official approval time is 60 to 90 days. But it often, if you apply, for example, in India or Australia or somewhere like far, then it sometimes takes like a month or even 5 weeks for the documents, for your documents to even leave the embassy, get delivered to the Ministry of the Interior, and someone like start looking at the documents. So if you submitted the documents, your visa application on the 1st of January, it's possible that until middle of February, no one really started looking and considering your application at all. So if you say, hey, it's been 2 months and I have no reply yet, it doesn't really mean anything, because maybe they just started working on your application. So 3 months, that's nothing. If you applied for a long-term residence permit, then the official approval time there is 270 days. So that could take way longer. So just wait. Either if you had everything prepared perfectly, then just wait and the decision will come at some point. If you didn't, then wait and don't poke the ministry, don't provoke them, because that could be bad for you. So yeah, of course, if you're sure that everything was perfect and you cannot wait any longer, you can always send one of the 2 letters, either just a polite letter asking the status of your application. That usually doesn't do anything because it doesn't have any legal value. It's just kind of polite sorry guys, polite request to know the status of your application, but that usually doesn't change anything. They just need to put the letter into your folder, so they might realize that the folder has been lying somewhere for 2 months and they forgot about it. But besides that, no legal value, no strength. Then you can send also the other letter, which is the complaint against inactivity, and that's a very strong legal matter, and the ministry needs to react, and they usually make the decision very fast after you send this letter. But it also usually pisses them off a lot, because you basically go, there is a decision maker, there is his boss, and you usually go like even above the boss of the decision maker, because there is a special committee for foreigners. So if you send the complaint letter, you can be sure that they will try to find any possible problem to make it complicated for you. So we don't really recommend this unless you are very, very, very sure that everything was 100% well done, well prepared, and that there will be no potential problems in your application. And also, if you really need to come here as soon as possible, otherwise, I don't know, you will die or like something will explode. I don't know, like really serious reasons. Because if you can wait, then just wait and don't provoke the ministry. Let them, they have their own pace, so let them be, and it should be fine. I applied on 11th, exactly on this last time, was in process, not before. 27, 26, 11, 26, 11, 11, 1. Yeah, so it was 15 days in your case that you applied. Safa says that she applied on the 11th of January, and on 26th, her visa application status was in process. So it's 15 days, which is actually pretty good. If they started processing the application in 15 days, that's not bad. So that's good. Now just wait. If it's been 3 months and it's not been, right? It's 26th of February, 26th of March, 26th of April. So you're 2.5 months. So they still even legally have 2 weeks. So at least 2 weeks. Wait for at least 2 more weeks, maybe one more month. And then if nothing happens, then you can start considering taking some steps. But until then, just wait patiently and don't provoke the ministry. Magde, the ministry asked me for new criminal record, additional documents. I was sent it to them before 15 days, but they didn't reply to me till now. Yeah, okay. So I guess the ministry requested some documents. You provided the documents, and you still haven't heard back from them. Again, doesn't matter. First of all, the ministry doesn't let you know that they received the documents. Second, it takes some time, because if you send it to the ministry, and it depends. I did another video about how to send letters to the ministry properly, because if you, for example, don't label the envelope with your application number, it will take them a couple more days to just even find out who are you and what did you send. Because if you put your application number on the envelope, then they will look it up in the system and they will directly give it to the decision maker under this number. But if you don't put the number there, someone needs to open it, go through that, find it, put it back to the envelope and give it to the decision maker. So it will add additional like couple days to even like deliver the documents. And that's like unnecessary, just write your name, just write your application number on the envelope. So things like that can delay that, and the ministry doesn't let you know. So, and then only once they receive the documents, then they will continue with the process and they will be checking the documents. And it doesn't mean that the documents were correct, because if they needed the criminal record, then it might need to be apostilled or super legalized, officially translated into Czech. So it depends if you did all this or if you made some mistakes in the process. That can also extend the time. It also depends if you send it to them in time, because if you did, then okay, they will continue with the process. But if you delivered the documents late after the deadline they gave you, then they might not even consider the application and they already started writing the denial letter. So it depends, but 15 days if you send the documents, and it's 15 days. And that, guys, remember one thing. If you're watching me and there is one thing you will remember from the live stream: 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, it doesn't mean anything in the world of the Ministry of the Interior. Okay, they don't care. They have their own pace, and the pace is usually very slow. So I kind of understand it. I see this a lot on Facebook. I see this a lot in discussions. I hear this a lot from our clients and people who contact us requesting our services or just asking some questions. This is very, very common question or very common like thing to say for people. Hey, I've already applied 2 weeks ago or 1 month ago or 2 months ago, and I haven't heard anything back from the ministry. Guys, nothing works this fast in the Czech Republic. Even though there are some official deadlines, the ministry has, I did another live stream about the official deadlines for different visa applications. But if, let's say the ministry has 60 to 90 days or 60 days to approve the permanent residency, but it's very common that the whole process takes like 4 months, 6 months. Some of the visa applications or residence permit applications can be in process for 2 years, and you cannot really do anything about that. And they don't really care. They don't care that your families are separated. They don't care that your school starts in 2 months and you need to come here for the start of the year. They don't care that the job will not wait for you for 6 months and that you will lose the job offer if they take that long. They just don't care. They don't care about your particular case. They don't care about the cases in general. And the politics of the Czech Republic, like the visa politics, is very like unfriendly to foreigners. So like 2 weeks, if you sent the documents 2 weeks ago, well, don't expect that anything will happen. That will take many more weeks or many more months. My colleague now just had like a client approved in 2 weeks, which is amazing for the business visa application, which usually takes 90 to 120 days or officially. So it depends. Sometimes it can go very fast, but sometimes it can go very, very slow. So if you don't hear from the ministry in a week or 2 or a month, it doesn't mean anything. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Just wait. And only if the ministry exceeds the given deadlines, the legal deadlines, then start like thinking about what to do next and start like contacting something. We once, or like it was 3 weeks ago, there was a guy who was chatting with us every day asking, okay, it's been another day. What's happening? What's the ministry doing with my application? Why is not approved yet? Until they exceed the given deadline by the law. So even if they have 90 days and on the 90th day that you have no decision, still doesn't mean anything. Only after they exceed it, you can start sending some letters. You can start doing at least something about that. But in generally they have their own pace, and the only thing you can do is just to wait. It makes no sense to push them or poke them or to somehow provoke them, because that can only make things worse. So just wait patiently, and yeah, it will work out, hopefully. If you submitted everything in good order and properly, then it should be okay. They was giving me 20 days to deliver it. So yeah, if you delivered it in time, that's good. Now just wait, and fingers crossed. So guys, any more questions? If you have some more questions, either on my Facebook group or in my Facebook group, or if you have some questions on YouTube, please feel free to ask them. I'm here for you now. I'll be answering everything. If you don't have any questions, I'll be leaving the live stream soon, and I will meanwhile sing for you. The people who watch me from YouTube, they usually get some extra seconds with me, because I first finish the live stream on Facebook, and then I finish it on laptop on YouTube. So those of you who are watching me on YouTube, you can get more seconds of this weird dance and song. Okay, so guys, any more questions? If there are no questions, I'll go to sleep. If there are some questions, you have like 30 seconds to ask, and I will answer them. So go ahead. Okay, you just watched me drinking for 5 seconds. Congratulations. No, okay, so it doesn't seem that I will have any more questions. So guys, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate you joining all the time and coming here and asking questions and contributing and sharing. So thank you very much. Of course, you can find me on all the channels. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, if you don't follow me on Instagram, if you don't follow me on Facebook or YouTube, then just follow me there, because I share different contents on different platforms. And thank you very much, and see you again on Thursday. And of course, if you have any topics you would like me to talk about, send me a message or comment under the video. Just get in touch, and I'll be happy to do the next live stream about the topic of your choice. Okay, guys. And of course, if you need any help with immigration matters or accommodation, health insurance, get in touch with me or get in touch with Move to Prague relocation experts. We'll be all happy to help. Otherwise, see you next Thursday. Bye-bye. So these are the extra seconds on YouTube. So I'm finishing up here as well. Thank you very much, guys. Sleep well, and see you again next time.